Is Arthur MELO going to turn out to be a good signing for Liverpool, and is he going to be the solution to their current midfield problem? Guys, welcome back to another video on the Planet Football YouTube channel. Today we are going to be checking out some of his highlights from his time at Juventus and exploring whether or not he'll be a good fit into this Liverpool side with their current problems that have stacked up into midfield. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. If you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for some regular footballing content. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this one and see just what he has to offer to this Liverpool midfield this season. I do think it's an interesting signing that Liverpool have dipped into the loan market instead of going out and fully pushing the boat out and putting that expenditure into the midfield, which is probably going to come around next summer. Not just one midfielder they need, I think they need quite a few actually, to have that regeneration of that position. But MELO's an interesting signing. I think what a lot of this compilation will show as well is how tidy he normally is on the ball. I probably saw more of him myself whilst he was at Barcelona. Since he's been at Juve, not seen all too much. But a lot of these clips, yeah, I certainly don't think that he'll be the most dynamic midfielder in the league for Liverpool this season, but what he does do is he's really quite tidy on the ball for ball retention and things like that. I'd imagine that his pass accuracy is regularly in the mid-90s and things like that. Usually keeps things very safe and sort of keeps the tempo ticking along and controlling. And just has those simple sort of switches of play. And you don't always fully notice a player like this on the pitch as well until you do sort of hone in on this sort of compilation. And it would be an interesting alternative to someone like Thiago, who obviously has been struggling a little bit with injuries. The problem that comes with a player like MELO is he himself has also been fairly injury prone since he's been over in Italy. Only making roughly about 13 or so starts a season for Juventus, with some appearances off the bench as well. Had surgery the other year, which obviously kept him out for quite a while, and then some other just niggling injuries. Because when he is fit, I certainly don't think that he's a game changer coming into this Liverpool side, but he's another body into that position where they obviously needed some strength. And he is a tidy player on the ball. You know, he keeps things ticking along. In possession, I think he'll be quite useful. Especially against a lot of the deeper blocks that Liverpool are going to come up against this season. Players like MELO that do keep the ball moving, know how to find a little bit of space and do keep things simple, can be quite effective actually. You know, he's not at that same level as someone like Thiago, but his role is slightly different. Not as quite dynamic as Thiago. But once again, a lot of these passes, sort of simple, out to the side, keeps things popping and moving, pops up in that deep central position a lot. And the benefit is, he can play a couple of different positions in midfield as well. You see him when he's in that 6th position, decent at sniffing out of danger and then playing those longer balls over the top. But he's also happy to play as a more box-to-box midfielder that we probably saw him play more so at Barcelona, with his role in that side as well. So it is an interesting transfer move. And to be honest, it was all a little bit bizarre at the time, his move away from Barcelona to Juventus with the sort of money that was involved, and then Pjanic going in the opposite direction. Everything seemed a little bit muddled around that transfer. And then obviously since going to Italy, he's not had the easiest of times because of that injury record, but there's no doubt a very tidy footballer in here. You know, you don't play as many games for Barcelona and Juventus if you've not got something about you. And if there is a manager in world football that can go ahead and bleed everything out of a player, it is Jurgen Klopp. I think as Thiago has showcased, a technical player who is tidy on the ball, can be a really useful fit into a side like Liverpool. I think this compilation does a good job of summing up what sort of player he is. He's not going to be that sort of dynamic player who's going to be, you know, threading those perfect through balls and getting a lot of assists and goal contributions and things like that. He's a little bit more conservative with his play. But you could argue that's someone that Liverpool probably needed a little bit. In terms of how rash we've seen them been on the ball in some of their opening matches. You know, we go to that one at Old Trafford struggling to keep hold of the ball. You know, with Henderson and Milner in midfield. Someone like MELO, I think, is a big improvement on that. Just in terms of that presence and composure on the ball, which he obviously has a lot of. Good weight of pass as well. And to be honest, he could actually be useful for the fullbacks in this Liverpool system. We've seen just how many times he's opted for a pass out towards that fullback, a sort of curving pass, instead of that killer ball through the middle that we see Thiago doing. I think Robertson struggled during the start of the season. Trent so far hasn't quite been his usual self as well. But someone like MELO who will be able to distribute the ball to them in quite a snappy fashion from those central positions, you know, while Thiago's not on the pitch, I think that will help them two out. And he does have a goal in him every now and again as well. And he can have those sort of lofted balls over the top which are useful. So yeah, he will be an interesting signing for Liverpool for sure. I'm very interested to see how he does get on. There we have it though, guys. That was the compilation for today, and I'd be very interested to get your guys' verdict on this one in the comments down below. Do you think he will be a hit in both the Premier League and in at Liverpool? This one is a loan deal. Obviously no obligation to buy at the end of it or anything like that, but should he do well, maybe that sort of thing will be explored. I'm particularly interested to see how he gets on because I did like the look of him at Barcelona, and maybe this is a chance for him to get his career properly back on track now. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's video though, guys. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.